No, so do you want to tell them all about your experience until you first find out what their experience would be? So you need to find out what their needs are. First thing you got to do is rapport, me too. You got to be like them. See, then when you start to share something, they're going to go, God, if she really had that experience, then, hey, I probably would have the same kind of experience. Here's the problem in most persuasion. Person goes out and they're all like this. Hey, this is really great. Hey, you got to go, this thing is so fabulous, right? And the other person's in kinesthetic. Right? And they can't figure out why the guy won't go. And the guy goes, oh, well, maybe next time, Mary. Is that going to be, are you going to be effective in your persuasion there? No way, because you blew it right up front. You're not putting them in a state, before you can put them in a state, one first thing you need to do is have rapport. So when you're talking to that person, you don't want to be over gradient and come by and kick them in the face and go, God, it's such a fabulous seminar. I mean, you can do anything you want in it. And that doesn't work. What you've got to be able to do is enter their world.
The king of self-help is manipulating you by appealing to your cognitive dissonance. Let me explain exactly how he does it. Tony Robbins is a larger-than-life self-help guru that has been riding his explosive success since the 1980s when infomercials dominated traditional media. Today, he throws massive cult-like expositions where he fixes people's marriages, wills people to accomplish their dreams, and makes a dystopian level of money while doing it. In simple terms, he teaches people how to master the following areas of their life: physicality, emotions, relationships, time, career, money, and spirituality. I would hope that anyone with a functioning brain can realize that a 22-year-old who tells people to step across hot coals doesn't necessarily have all of life's answers, but I would be wrong.
Next tonight here, the self-help moment gone wrong in Dallas. More than 30 people hurt in a fire walk during an event held by Tony Robbins. Several, in fact, rushed to the hospital. And here tonight, ABC's Clayton Sandell.
We need a rescue dispatch down here for a burn victim on both of their feet.
Contrary to popular hustle porn peddled by gurus, life is a long, complicated journey that everyone is trying to navigate. True wisdom comes from experience, not salesmen looping you into their marketing schemes like Tony Robbins has been doing his entire life. Cognitive dissonance theory, or CDT, is oftentimes adopted from psychology or sociology and used in communication theory to explain the persuasiveness of messages. Cognitive dissonance theory explains the discomfort that we feel when our beliefs don't match our actions. Has your dentist ever asked you if you floss and you lie straight to their face and say, yeah, of course? That feeling of uneasiness, granted you're not a psychopath, is cognitive dissonance working in action. You know that flossing is a good habit to have, yet you don't do it anyway. So how does this apply to Tony Robbins? People who go to self-help events, by their definition, require help. They're broken in some way, shape, or form, and the crazy thing is, they could just be completely fine. But for some reason, a tiny little voice got into their head and convinced them that they needed help. In fact, they are unable to recognize that they are probably just experiencing what we call life and placing faith in a man they've never met before who doesn't know anything about them. Tony Robbins designs his message to appeal to people's cognitive dissonance by selling them a solution on how to fix it. To me, it's clear that people who are stuck in a constant loop of always self-improving, people that would go to these events, have a higher intensity of cognitive dissonance, which hinges upon three main factors. Number one is perceived importance, which is how much weight you put on a belief. Say someone is morbidly obese, yet their eating habits are absolutely trash. Odds are they're never going to lose weight, therefore they have a high degree of cognitive dissonance and have a high degree of discomfort. If you truly don't care about something, odds are it's not going to affect you when you don't follow through with your actions. Number two is the dissonance ratio, which is the degree to which you are consistent or inconsistent between your actions and beliefs. And number three, the rationalization of your dissonance, which is your ability to make excuses. This will all start to make sense, trust me. Dorothy Martin was a cult leader of a group called the Seekers, and on December 20th of 1954, she swore that the world was going to end when the clock struck midnight due to a prophecy from planet Clarion. When the Seekers stayed up all night because of impending doom, they were relieved to find out that nothing had happened. So in their eyes, Dorothy Martin was a great big liar, right? After all, the Seekers just left their jobs and families in order to prepare for Armageddon, and she was just proven wrong. Shockingly, their faith in Dorothy did not diminish, but actually became stronger. This is because the Seekers started to perform what we call mental gymnastics. They began to rationalize their beliefs and come up with excuses why Armageddon didn't happen. And basic human behavior tells us that we would rather rationalize than admit fault. So when Tony Robbins' advice doesn't fix his followers' perceived life problems, they are more inclined to follow him even closer than to question his legitimacy. This is precisely how you get stuck in the self-improvement sphere, only to be upsold on the latest and greatest program, course, or event. Which is why today's video is sponsored by ExpressVPN. If you guys are like me, spending a large majority of your day inside connected to the internet, then you're giving your internet service providers and advertisers more opportunities to collect your data and legally sell it. It would be pretty creepy if somebody followed you around and logged everything that you did. So why let your internet provider do the same thing to you online? ExpressVPN is a simple app for your computer or smartphone that encrypts all of your network data and tunnels it through a secure VPN server so that your internet service provider cannot see any of your activity. A lot of people think they're safe whenever they open up an incognito tab or even a private browser, but your internet service provider can still see the exact hentai sites that you're watching. I use ExpressVPN on all of my devices because it adds that extra layer of protection from anyone trying to keep tabs on me. My favorite part about ExpressVPN is that by connecting to their VPN servers, I'm able to unlock other countries' streaming services such as Netflix and BBC iPlayer. For example, whenever I connect to the UK, I'm able to watch Rick and Morty on their Netflix. Using the internet without ExpressVPN is like going for a run and forgetting your socks at home. You can do it, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's just a risk that I don't want to take. Go to expressvpn.com/Philion to find out how you can get 3 months of ExpressVPN totally free. And thank you to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. The success of a persuasive message, aka Tony Robbins, can be measured in 3 ways, and according to communication theory, the first main one is a reduction of cognitive dissonance. Tony Robbins and other self-improvement figureheads' entire business model relies on you thinking that you need fixing. People hate feeling like they're not doing enough, and when Tony Robbins says there's 7 areas in your life that you can improve upon, oftentimes you will feel like you're running out of time or you're gonna miss out if you don't take action. Work out, shock the body, take a cold shower, you know it's good for you, manifest money, let it come to you. By the way, are you coming to the next Unleash the Power event for the small price of $6,000? Remember, this is an investment in you. Don't do it for me, do it for you. The second factor that dictates the success of persuasive messages is objectivity of information. We are more inclined to listen to messages that are objective, not subjective, meaning they're not biased. However, with the confidence of a self-help guru, it's very easy to fake objectivity. If you sound like you know what you're talking about, that is more than enough for most people to believe what you're saying. Let's take a look at how Tony Robbins charismatically listens to 4 women's life problems, lumps them all together, and then regurgitates hustle porn diarrhea onto a whiteboard.
Anxiety.
Anxiety, and what tends to trigger that?
I feel like I'm at the point in my life where I need to figure out what I'm doing with my life, like right now.
Fear of failure, loss.
How about for you?
I'm a business owner, and just like getting people on board with my idea, I don't have that niche market.
Right now I'm overwhelmed because I just found out my mom has stage 3 ovarian cancer. And yesterday I was in Toronto with her and literally drove home so I could be here with you.
Wow.
So I could get your perspective on it.
All of you have targets, things that you're after. If you're gonna get a new result, if you're gonna grow your business, if you're gonna be able to support your mom, if you're gonna get rid of the anxiety, if you're gonna be able to overachieve and not have all that fear inside of you, you obviously need to get a new result. You're gonna have to get new action. We all know that. You don't get new results with old actions, doing the same thing. And about 3 years ago, Harvard finally did a study where they proved what I did worked, and they called it these power positions. And what they showed was if you stand, everyone can try this, stand up just for a moment if you want, everybody at home can try it as well. Let's do something really silly. Put both your hands on your hips like Wonder Woman or Superman or that stuff, right? If you stand like this and you breathe deep for just 2 minutes, what the science found was that you will absolutely increase your testosterone by 20%, man or woman. You'll drop your cortisol, which as you know is the stress hormone, by 22%, and you're 33% more likely to take action if you wouldn't have before because fear would have stopped you.
Yeah, that's all well and great, Tony, but my mom's dying of cancer, and I don't think standing proud and increasing my testosterone by 20% is going to get me anywhere, quite frankly. One last point that plays into people's perception of Tony Robbins is the fact that the richer he gets, the more legit he seems. Fireworks, fog machines, giant stadiums sold out, everyone packed to the brim, his porcelain veneers. It's all just part of his image. Have you ever noticed that anyone on TV is just hot, whether it be a weather person or even a news anchor? Like, why is everyone so good looking? It's really quite easy to understand. That's because the attractiveness of the source of the message is arguably as important, if not more important, than the message itself. Tony Robbins is 6'7". He is absolutely gigantic. Quite literally, he is larger than life in a lot of different ways. His voice sounds like he's a Lovecraftian old god. The guy looks like Thanos himself. And whenever you watch Tony Robbins speak for an extended period of time, he is always either smiling or nodding in agreement. Newscasters' facial expressions and voting behavior of viewers. Can a smile elect the president? This was published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology in 1986. This study analyzed two groups of TV viewers during the 1984 presidential elections and their voting behaviors. They found that Peter Jennings' bias to Reagan increased the voter behavior for Reagan significantly more than other news hosts due to his increased facial positivity and favorable expressions. What this tells us is that facial expressions, mannerisms, and subtle communication cues can be extremely persuasive, which Tony Robbins knows all too well. When, and if you do fall down the Tony Robbins rabbit hole, you can observe that he is constantly posing rhetorical questions back to his audience in order to engage them. Lastly, he ties it all together by gish-galloping his cult-like followers, presenting them with so much information, inserting random life stories, and then sprinkling in some motivational mumbo-jumbo, all while you sit on the edge of your seat waiting for the next ticket. I don't think I need to further explain the behavior of a man who is fully self-aware of his own manipulation techniques, building rapport for the sake of making millions of dollars, upselling his programs, all while role-playing as a false god.
So all you have to do to persuade someone is do two simple things. One, you have to identify, and ideally the first step you're going to do is you're going to identify the buying state. One. And two is you're going to anchor it, anchor that state to your product. Now, ideally, right, I wouldn't just push it that fast, right, because their strategy may be to have more information. But once I've identified that state and can set it off consistently, can I get this person to attend the seminar, yes or no? Yes. There's absolutely no doubt. It's just like Ivan Pavlov and the dogs. See, a lot of people go out and they teach sales persuasion. They go, say this and do that, and say this and do that, and say do this. Okay, that's all garbage. Here's what you do to be able to do this. These two pieces. Now, if you want to see it in the content shape, here's how you persuade. First part of this football field called persuasion is to identify or develop what? Rapport. You got to develop rapport. You don't walk up and go, hey, baby, did you ever feel like you had pure ecstasy and you ever want to do that again? Come fill out this ticket. That won't work real well, right?